Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to the last installment of our seminar session for the Education Ireland North America Fair. We are here with Chelsea, who will be able to give some more reasons and insight into Ireland and why you should study there. So I'm going to hand you over to Chelsea.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. My name is Chelsea Weaver, and I'm currently a regional admissions representative for University College Dublin. I personally did my master's degree in Ireland as well. I'm an alum of Trinity College Dublin. I did my master in education and guidance and counselling specifically and graduated back in 2016. I would love to have our two amazing panelists this evening introduce themselves. We have Jackie and we have Walker. Jackie is an alum of UCD and Walker is an alum of the University of Limerick. So if you could both just introduce yourselves, say what program you were in, what master's degree, and the year that you graduated. And then I've got some questions for you as well. Jackie, if you'd like to start.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Jackie. I did the Master's of Arts program for International Relations at University College Dublin. I graduated in 2020, which was a fun year. And yeah.
Perfect. Walker.
Hi, I'm Walker McAndrew. I did the Masters of Science at University of Limerick for the work in organizational behavior, and if you're in the States, they typically call it industrial organizational psychology. And I graduated in 2019, so before all the craziness kind of kicked off officially. So I'm with you, Jackie. I feel your pain.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you both. So my first question is quite general, but I think it's really important. And again, I guess we'll just start with you again, Jackie, if that's okay. What drew you both to pursue your postgraduate degree, specifically in Ireland? So I guess it's a two-part question. Like, why Ireland, why the universities you chose, and also why your specific program as well. So answer that however you'd like.
Oh, so simple. Should I go first?
Yes, go for it.
Okay, so I studied abroad. So I was planning on studying abroad during my undergraduate degree, and my school had an exchange program with University College Dublin. So I ended up going to University College Dublin spring of 2017 because Ireland just seemed like a great option. It didn't seem too far away. Everyone spoke English. I didn't really know too much about Ireland besides the stereotypes. So I thought it would be a great place to go to. I ended up loving my study abroad experience. I knew I wanted to do my master's eventually in international relations because I studied politics when I was in undergrad. And realized that University College Dublin, I felt comfortable there. I loved the school, so I knew I had to go there. And that was the only school I applied for graduate degree wise, and I was accepted, thankfully. And that's why I ended up going there.
Love it. That's a great answer.
Yeah, for myself, similar story or similar background. So I ended up doing study abroad during my undergraduate to the University of Limerick. I played rugby, got the rugby ball back there. So I said, "Hey, I want to play for a school over in Ireland or Scotland. Give me somewhere that's cool." And our program had a joint. I think like a sister college or something like that. It was University of Limerick. So that was the only study abroad that I did. Then afterwards, I was looking for postgraduate experience. I had traveled to China before the pandemic had gone on and everything like that. And I had a string of bad bosses. So I said, why were those bosses bad? I wanted to figure it out. From a scientific standpoint. So that's what made me choose the major for industrial organizational psychology. But I had applied to George Mason University here in the States and a couple other universities and the University of Limerick as well. What made me choose the University of Limerick was that experience that I had previously for that study abroad, but it was also the price. So just for frame of reference for everybody here, I think it was at the time it was like $12,000 for a year-long program at the University of Limerick, and for stateside at George Mason University, it was a 2-year program for the same accreditation and everything like that, and it was about $60,000, so USD. So that made it a lot easier of a choice for myself, just monetarily speaking. And yeah, loved every bit of it.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. Is the vast majority of master's degrees in Ireland are 1 year versus the vast majority in the US are 2 years. So already just with that alone, it's a money saver. There was a question there from someone, were both of your masters taught or research-based masters? I believe, and feel free to nod, I believe both of you were enrolled in taught masters. Is that correct? Yes, yeah. So taught is the most common. If you're on the path for a PhD, that's when usually students would look at. It depends on the topic. Another really common question we get is just about the academics. So obviously this differs depending on the program, depending on the subject, depending on your research area. But what was, just to kind of summarize it as best as you can, and again, we'll start with you, Jackie. How would you describe kind of your schedule, your classes? What did that look like for your academic year in UCD?
So one of the reasons I really liked UCD was the flexibility of the classes that I could take. There was only a couple of requirements, and the rest of them were kind of elective modules. So I got to, choose the different classes that worked best for me and also what I was most interested in. I took 3 classes a semester. So the 1 year is 3 semesters. It's the fall, spring, and then the summer. So during the fall and the spring, I took 3 classes each. And then this summer, I had the option of either doing an internship or a thesis at that time. I chose to do a thesis because I was like, I figured might as well do some research. And it also was easier to do, I feel like, from home versus an internship. So that's what I did. But I really liked the small classes. The maximum amount I had in my classes were, I think, 30 or 35. Most of them were kind of lecture style, but we also had a lot of group discussion work, which I really appreciated. One difference I would say definitely in Ireland that I noticed when I was studying abroad and doing my master's as well was that there's a lot of bigger assignments instead of smaller little assignments. So instead of doing like a weekly discussion paper of like a couple of paragraphs, instead my classes, they might be broken up or in 2 or 3 essays. For me, it was a lot more essays than exams. But it really depends on your program, or should I say course.
Yeah, super similar experience on my end. I'd say the coursework was, I think it was about the equivalent of a US 15 to 17 hours a semester as about what we were at. I also did the graduate teaching assistant program while I was out there. So I was teaching undergrads while I was going through that program, but it just kept me on campus longer. So I got to spend more time in the library. Was kind of my thing. But I would say one difference that I have from Jackie was ours. IO psychology is more work focused, so we had a lot of like external projects that we had to do, like go out to other businesses and stuff like that in small groups and work with those small groups to write a case study about some theory or some application of that theory for those things. So that was mainly what it was focused on. In the States, it was more test based, kind of like what Jackie was saying, and then in Ireland, it seemed to be more like application based. Like, hey, you're going to go out in the world with your master's, so let's go make sure that you have all the skills that are going to translate to that resume and translate to that interview process that you're going to go off and get into the real world with, which was awesome. I think in the States, it's a different type of master's, and I'm blanking on the name for it right now. But I would have had to go get a different degree to go get that experience elsewhere.
Fantastic. Love this. You're inspiring me now. I want to go back and get another master's. Really, I just want to go back to Ireland. Next question. Did either one of you avail of any supports on campus, either while you were a student or as an alum, so alumni services? So, that can be anywhere from like academic supports to, counseling, the medical supports, or especially like career services, if you want to talk about or highlight any of those. And either one of you, feel free to jump in there.
I can jump on this one first. Career services were huge. We actually had somebody from career services come in to our class and make a pitch for using their services. So I'm going to couple this with And that your question, did you guys stay back in Ireland after completing your degree? My whole plan originally was to stay back in Ireland after completing the degree, and due to like some family circumstances, I couldn't do that. But they did a great job at the University of Limerick. Their career services helped us get matched with employers that were willing to sponsor a visa. So I think Ireland does a program where if you get your master's over there, you can work there for about 3 years or something like that. And then you have to get sponsored on, yeah, 2 years, there you go. And then you have to get sponsored on for that extra 3 years. So they had people come in from other businesses and were willing to do those 2 years and then talk about extending the time for the extra 3 years. So was big on that. I had like a weird case of something pop up for medical stuff. Sorry, my dog is digging at stuff in the background. But I had some weird medical stuff come up that was very random, and something to do with like a wisdom tooth pop up. And so medical services was huge for me. It would have been thousands of dollars back in the States to get like this emergency surgery that I needed for one of my wisdom teeth as like an emergency extraction. It was, I think, after all bills were said and done, like 90 euro or something like that. And that everybody was saying how expensive that was to me. So yeah, so I tried to stay back. It's easy to stay back for those 2 years, relatively speaking. It is not super easy to get the 3-year sponsorship afterwards, is kind of what I've heard. Challenging to keep up with courses, yeah, and no at the same time. It depends on if you're doing work on the side and all that stuff as well. So sorry for double barreling that answer, but Jackie, go for it.
I honestly forgot the question, to be honest.
Just support services. So
Oh,
either
right.
as a student or an alum, or both.
I used the career services for resume. They had really great like resume feedback because I was trying to translate my, US resume to an Irish kind of CV. And so they had great examples, and they also gave me feedback on what I should switch out, what words I should use, that kind of thing. I also used like the library guides for different like citations. That was like super helpful when I was doing citations for my papers, because I used a citation style that I had no idea about. Somebody asked a question. So there is a lot of supports on campus. I did use the clinic once on campus, and it was great. And there's also a pharmacy on campus. And you're also nearby to everything else as well. So that was fine. Somebody asked what would the international relations program vary based on what country you learned it in? No, because a lot of international relations theories are kind of universal, essentially. And all the professors that I had were from different countries and different areas, and as well as my classmates. So it was a lot of different people from different countries kind of talking about their own experiences in their own countries. So that was really interesting. There is like there was some European kind of politics based, and also some Irish politics kind of base, which is what I was interested in learning about. So that's also a reason why I really liked the different types of modules that they offered in the program.
Incredible. Thank you. And I just wanted to say that I am conscious that there's some great questions coming in the chat. We're going to try to get to those. So as you can see, we'll answer some of them and throughout this conversation, but then those that we don't get to in the conversation, we'll try to get to at the end as well. And my next question is mostly because I am just really, really excited to hear this. Where are both of you now in your careers? What are you doing? Have you furthered your education? Yeah, what are you both working as now? And I guess, Walker, we'll start with you.
Yeah, sure. So I got back in 2019 and we had to turn in a dissertation. So I took like a little gap to finish that out. And I do learning and development, or I started off as a learning and development specialist. So I teach people how to do their jobs, kind of, but it's more so from a design of like the technical standpoint. So I work in mainly SaaS and or software as a sale, and the tech space doing that. So I started off at some small startup, then I went to Apple doing instructional design stuff where I create curriculum for their RCC, their retail contact center, and moved on to another startup. Now I work for a company called GitHub, and they are owned by Microsoft. And I do all of their technical content development for their instructional design space. So I love doing that. That's a mouthful, but I love doing that stuff. It's a ton of fun. But I did continue on my education, and I got a couple of certificates in the field of the instructional design from another field. So I try to stay in touch with the University of Limerick professors that I've got as much as possible, and ask them what the most current research is as well. But that's about it on my end.
Oh, that's all. Yeah, I did not further my education any further, but initially when I first graduated, I came back 2020 because I missed my family. And yeah, so after that, I was working at a nonprofit. I was working on US State Department education programs. And then now, as of earlier on this year, the Consulate General of Ireland in New York. I work as a consular administrative officer. So I loved Ireland so much I had to work for Ireland. I kind of work on visas, passports, if Irish citizens have any questions, if students are visa required and need a student visa to go to Ireland, I answer their questions and issue the and I get to help out with events and stay community. I met the Taoiseach, who is Irish Prime Minister, 2 weeks ago, so that was very exciting. And I've met countless other Irish politicians since. So it's very cool to be there and be involved in Ireland and politics.
Stop. This is such a like mic drop situation for both of you. I'm just like, I'm so inspired. This is incredible. Like, I can't believe this is real life. You know, you couldn't write this. And I think the Education in Ireland motto now, I think it's newer on the scene, saying like Ireland, the making of you, right? Like this is just a perfect example of that. And especially you, Jackie, with like you cannot, it's once Ireland is a part of you and is a part of your soul, like you cannot get rid of that. And I'm the same, like my professional connection to Ireland is forever, and it's a bond that could never be broken, you know, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful and all of those things. And also you mentioned visas, just a really important note that US passport holders do not actually need a visa to study in Ireland for a full degree, which is nice because you don't have that stressful paperwork ahead of time. You do need to register with immigration after you arrive, but they give you usually 90 days to do that. And UCT or UL, your Irish university, there will be support services and they'll guide you through that process. So that's an important caveat. Jackie, is there anything else, you know, either from your own experience, because I know you did return to the US after because of the circumstances in 2020, but is there any other information you wanted to share with those tuning in about the stay back visa opportunities or just visa opportunities in general? And it's okay if there's nothing you want to say on that, but it's a really massive thing for prospective master's students to think about, is to come over and potentially do a 1-year master's and then stay for an additional 2 years to gain that international work experience. And it's definitely a selling point. Is there anything you wanted to say about that?
Yeah, so on your point of you don't have to register before you end up in Ireland, yes, please don't apply for a student visa if you're a US citizen, because I get many visa applications from US citizens planning on studying in to call them and be like, you actually don't need it. You need to show paperwork at the airport showing that you're a student in Ireland. But otherwise, yeah. So a student visa is a stamp 2 is what we call it. That's the type of visa. Stamp 1G is our third level graduate scheme. So in our your student visa would still need to be valid in order for you to apply for the 1G visa. But it's essentially a simple kind of application process. You go register at your local Garda station, and to show that you Well, in order to do so as well, you need to have completed your results, so make sure you bring your transcript or your degree with you. But otherwise, it's a simple process. I did it myself. It was a bit different because it was online because I wasn't sure if I was going to go back home. I ended up going back home. But it is a simple process that is still valid and that you have your results ready for when you're thinking of applying for that. But you can work for any company in Ireland. There's no restrictions on it. And usually they give it for 1 year and then you could renew it for another year. So you can stay up to 2 years after that. And then after that, you can get some type of stay. But if you have any questions, I would say contact your local consulate, or if you're in the New York area, the New York consulate. We're very helpful, aka I'm very helpful, especially with student visas since I know about it.
And very friendly and knowledgeable, clearly. I love that. And then there's been this question a couple times actually, if there's dual citizens, so whether you're an Irish passport holder or another EU passport holder in addition to the US, you don't need a student visa. You don't actually need to register with immigration when you arrive in Ireland, as long as you enter with your EU or Irish passport. So that's an important consideration as well. And then Jackie, I know I did the working holiday authorization or a visa, and that's still an opportunity for students, right? So if they do an undergraduate degree in the US, within 12 months of graduating, I think they can apply for a working holiday visa to go to Ireland to do any type of work, casual work, for a year. Is that correct? Is that still an opportunity?
That's still an opportunity. Not a lot of people know about it. I didn't actually know about it a couple years ago myself. So that's definitely an option I would have taken advantage of. But yes, it's a very process. It's literally kind of like a 2-page application. We require a couple documents, but it's for any type. So if you finished an undergraduate degree, master's degree, PhD degree, you apply as long as it's within 12 months. Yep. And you can for up to a year.
Brilliant. Thank you. Just wanted to highlight that.
That's right on the movie. I just printed off too.
It's great. Yeah, I did that back in
Ireland.
It's so worth it. Yeah, opened up my entire world. Maybe the last question is kind of a two-part question before we get into some of the questions in the chat, but I want to know from both of you, how do you feel that your experiences in Ireland and as part of your master's program specifically prepared you for your next steps and where you are now? And then as a supplement to that, like and it's fine if there's nothing because we've talked about loads here, but any general advice to those who are considering a master's degree in Ireland and just starting to do that research. So either one of you can go first.
I can jump on it. How the masters kind of prepped me was a lot of the like actual application of the theory that we read about. So it wasn't just, hey, read this research article about this thing and then you should just know how to apply it afterwards. It was, hey, read all of these sets of articles on this very specific topic and then go forth and try to apply it and we'll correct you on it. One of the things that I got that I don't know if I would have gotten if I went to the States was we had a project where we had to do all this research the entire semester. And then at the end of it, had to go out and apply it. My group chose to apply it to a brewery for like management consulting in Ireland or in Limerick. So we got to go into the brewery, got to sample some beer for research purposes, and then we got to go out afterwards and write a paper on it. But the paper had to be under, I think it was 600 words or something like that, and have all of these things like it felt like crammed into it at the time. And the application to that in the business world for us was, or for me at least, was, hey, nobody's going to read a 20-page research article or a proposal for a business. They want to like slim down to a paragraph at the most. So that taught me that skill. Just like a little tidbit of advice from myself that Jackie could probably go into a little bit more is get a job on campus if you're going to do this. If you're looking for a job, they can you have to register and do all that stuff. You'll get a little green card. And I don't know, Jackie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I was told, I think, that I had to go and have that green card in my hand before I could go physically work or apply for somewhere. The university has tools to kind of go around that a little bit to say, hey, you can work at the university while this is in processing, because we know that you're here legally or here for no nefarious reasons or anything like that. So that was my end to make money and pay rent while I was out there, and it worked out really well.
Good old PPS number. It's basically like the Irish Social Security number, is what I like to say. But yeah, I have that card. Yeah. I would say if you're thinking about doing master's program in Ireland, do it. Because um, even before, like my first time going to Ireland, I was so nervous. I wasn't sure if it was the right decision. Studying abroad there, I never been to Ireland before studying abroad. So when I was a junior in college, I was like, I don't know if I'm making the right decision. And now I definitely say I can never regret it. So it's just such great opportunity. Just I loved my program because I got to take such a variety of different classes I never had the chance to take during my undergraduate degree. Like I learned about women. I learned about UN peacekeeping. And then within that class, I got to meet an actual UN peacekeeper from Ireland. So that was amazing. And in one of my classes, I got to meet a couple of different local politicians who ended up being bigger Irish politicians. And ended up getting people internships because they met them within my class. So it's kind of opportunities like that in such a small kind of classroom setting, and getting to know my professors really well, especially my thesis advisor, is just amazing. And for the 1 year experience and the price, you can't beat it.
Thank you both. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I think this session is being recorded. That's also a question that came up, is like how to engage after this. I mean, my best advice is, reach out to your regional admissions representative, or the admissions office for the university you're interested in. Connect with them, and then they can connect you with alum like Walker and Jackie, right? If that's something you're interested in following up on. Another question that's come in that maybe one or both of you can quickly answer is just about how you funded your master's in Ireland. So scholarships or loans, etc.
I was on the American GI Bill, and so a lot of the scholarships and grant opportunities that you would have here in the United States, you'll have over at your university in Ireland. I believe they have like some of the Fannie Mae loans and some of those as well that you can qualify for too. So that's a big one for a lot of folks. That's one of those you should check with the university first. I also did that GTA program. They paid, which I think they keep up every year with inflation or market competition or whatever it is, but they paid like €35 per class that I would go in and lecture for. So I was teaching quite a few of those classes while I was doing that undergrad as well, or sorry, while I was doing the postgrad as well. So that's how I funded it.
So I got the Global Excellence Scholarship at University College Dublin, which is one of the top scholarships there, and I was very, very lucky and happy to have gotten it. So that really helped fund my program. I also worked full time, and I accumulated a decent amount of savings, and I also worked part time off campus in retail. So that's kind of how I was able to fund things and rent and food and all that fun stuff.
Amazing. And I know we've gotten other questions that we haven't really gotten to, but I think we got the main ones. And we're about at time here. So I don't know if there's any final thoughts, but this has been absolutely incredible. Personally, I'm glad that this is recorded so I can watch it again, because this has been wonderful.
I would also say that universities usually have events or places where you can meet others about going to Ireland. We had a couple of those at the consulate that I actually got to volunteer at and be a part of, especially the UCD one. I'm biased, but the other ones as well. And it was a great opportunity to meet other students that are going for the same degree and, meeting others. So I think those events are a great opportunity to go to as well, especially if you want more information. And usually your admissions representatives are there as well. So if you have any admissions kind of questions, you can ask them.
Thank you. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Walker. Thank you, Jackie, so very much. This has been fabulous.
Yes, thank you guys so much for tonight, and wherever you guys are, and thank you to all of you for your lovely words. Everyone who is watching, feel free to go back to the lobby and have a few more chats within the last hour of the fair, because this is the last seminar session of the night. All right, thank you everybody. Bye-bye.
There you go.
Thank you.